This weekend, the Indianapolis Colts 3-0 heading to the Los Angeles Rams at 2-1. And before we get fully embedded into a game preview here, I just want to send a shout out Jim Irsay, one of the coolest owners in NFL history. And obviously, rest in peace, Irsay, and our thoughts to the Irsay family. But Irsay was absolutely incredible, dude. I loved watching him on McAfee and just hearing him in interviews and press conferences and stuff like that. That guy was awesome. That guy knew how to run an NFL team, man. Good times there. Jim Irsay, obviously legend of the football. This game happening at SoFi Stadium, 1:05 p.m. kickoff time. This game will kick off on Fox with Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnston on the call. The distribution of this one, Rams are going to be playing in the blue zones as Fox is on the single, so this does include the late games. Not a lot of zone this week around, so we get mostly around Indy, mostly around LA, and then for some reason a little pocket of New Orleans wants to see the Rams, which love them for that. That's absolutely awesome, but that's kind of what we're dealing with this week. Not a lot of coverage. I guess I don't think this is going to be a good game. Fox is burning us on this one. But in fairness, it's the markets individually. They pick what teams and stuff like that they like to feature. I'm guessing Saints picked the Rams, and it kind of just worked out that way. Or New Orleans picked the Rams, and it just kind of worked out that way. It's kind of interesting how that all works. It's not a burn from the NFL, though, on the Rams themselves. So just putting that one out there. Rams are minus 3.5, minus 198 on the money line, and the over-under for this one is 48.5. Rams will be rocking the royal jerseys for this matchup, and our pants picks here. We got a good mix going on here, dude. I'm going with the bone. We got Peo and Tuna picking royal, and Rams House is going with the soul. So we will see how that how the pants shake out. We typically learn those on Thursday, so you'll be able to see it there. But participate, dude. Play along with us, man. And drop your pants picks in the comment section below. Maybe we'll start doing that on like Wednesdays on Tuna and the Sheriff or something like that. Try to get some time in there. You know what I mean? And let's take a look at the history of this matchup. This is the 48th all-time meeting between these two teams. That's quite a bit for an AFC team for sure. The Colts do lead the all-time series 23-22-2. So when they win, the Rams can tie the all-time series. The last time these teams met was on October 1st, 2023. That was a 29-23 win for the Rams. Puka Nacua scoring in overtime his first career touchdown, and he didn't know the overtime rules. He didn't know the game was over, so he scored, and he was thinking, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, we got ours. What up, And then he didn't realize we won, dude. It's game over. So that's absolutely awesome. I love that. First ever meeting between these two, that came on October 22nd, 1950. That was a 70-27 win for the Rams over the Baltimore Colts. Colts do lead the series overall, like I said, by 1, but the Rams actually lead the series in points, 1,122 to 1,019. So a good difference there, too. 103-point difference, but one more win for the Colts. Some big old wins for the Rams. And let's see here. The Rams have won the last 4 against the Colts. The Colts' last win came on October 25th of 2009. That was 42-6 win for the Colts. Sean McVay's first ever game as a Rams head coach came against the Colts September 10th of 2017. That was a 46-9 win for the Rams. My personal favorite game, though, watching the Rams play the Colts, would have been that Tavon Austin game at the Edward Jones Dome, November 10th, 2013. Tavon just goes off, dude. That was absolutely incredible. That punt return, I remember being like, what are you doing? God, and then just losing my mind. That was good times, man. Good times. Rams and Colts have only played 5 times when the Rams were in the city of St. Louis. The Rams were 2-3 versus Indy in that stretch. And the two have met in the postseason no times, which makes sense with it being a cross-conference opponent. There's only one game that could have happened in, and the Rams have never met the Colts in the Super Bowl. All right, so obviously a lot that we are looking at for this game. The Colts are, I think the biggest story of this week is the Colts are much better than everybody expected through just 3 weeks of action. One close win against the Denver Broncos, who certainly is the best team that they have played this year. But other than that, a couple of blowout wins over the Dolphins and the Titans. And I know a lot of the storyline, especially from Colts fans, is like, well, we were beating up on teams that the Rams were, having trouble against, I suppose, with the Tennessee Titans. But I think it's just still too early in the season to say, like, who's really that awesome and who's really not. Because, again, the Colts have beat two not incredible teams and then was really close against a team who I think everybody thought was going to be better this year in the Denver Broncos. And they're doing fine, but they're 1-2, you know what I mean? So you got to have, that's definitely a big part of it, I think, is just the opponents. And it'll average out as the year goes on, obviously, but Daniel Jones looked like he's pulling like a full-on Dre Foge on us in Indy, where it's like, who is this guy? You know, like, is this the same guy that we had, like, that we've seen before? But honestly, he looks great this year. He looks real confident. He looks calm. He looks like he's going through his reads well. 71.6 completion percentage, 816 yards through 3 games. He's averaging 272. 3 touchdowns, no picks for Danny Jones over here. The Colts, though, second leading rusher in team history. Jonathan Taylor getting it done on the ground as well. He's averaging just under 113 a game, so offense is absolutely rolling. Balanced receiving attack. 2 guys in first place with receiving yards, 193 apiece. Obviously, great distribution there. That's the rookie tight end, Tyler Warren, and Michael Pittman Jr., both looking absolutely incredible. Colts have only punted 1 time this season and have no turnovers. That is absolutely of note. In fairness, they do have 9 first downs by penalty. Some of those have been in some pretty drive-saving situations, and are also 5 of 7 on 4th down, which means that they're going for it, man. And I don't know, that doesn't obviously count as a turnover, even though it is when you miss it on 4th down, but it doesn't go against anybody's stat sheet as like Daniel Jones or Jonathan Taylor or anything like turn the ball over, so there's that as well. That brings me to my biggest key to victory in this game, which is going to be just throw a wrench in the production. Whip a wrench into that machine and see what happens. You know what I mean? They've been able to just run how they want to run each game, it seems, so far this year. And I know the sample size is 3. Our sample size is 3. You don't have a whole understanding of how your team is performing right now. But you throw a wrench into that, throw them off, and don't let them just do what they want to do to you, which, I mean, that sounds simple, but it's not. This is the NFL. So I think that's kind of the biggest, for me, that is the biggest key for the Rams. You throw things at the Colts that they have not seen so far this season and will ruin their day. That's all, man. You got to ruin their day with your front 7. The Rams attack, their pass rush, and ability to stop the run, I think has shown massive improvements as far as the ability to stop the run this year. But we've also seen that the pass rush is absolutely incredible. First in sacks right now. We do kind of anticipate the Rams will at least be in that conversation by season's end with the players that they have. And we know Jared Verse, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. We know, Braden Fisk. We know Tuna and stuff like that. But Josiah Stewart, dude, he's coming out here and absolutely killing it. Absolutely love to see that. He's been playing great football. So keeping that pressure coming, man, even no matter who it's coming from, no matter where you're at on the depth chart, you're still an NFL player, man, and we still want you to crush Daniel Jones. Crush him, dude. So that's kind of what we're looking for here, obviously. The Rams corners have proven to be a little bit of a liability, and the front will definitely need to get in the face of Jones and stuff Taylor to be able to help out those corners, man. Obviously, Akella Witherspoon's still down on IR, but secondary has been what I would consider a bit of a liability, especially when you play a team that has a big body dude like A.J. Brown. So Pittman again this week, certainly some concerns there as far as what are the Rams going to do to put a lid on that. No, but I think that first and foremost, it's get to Daniel Jones and don't let him beat you on the ground as well, because we know that he can do that too. So the story of really for the Rams on the Rams side is how do you respond off of a comeback loss in a game where you largely outplayed the champions who haven't lost a game in really a while, dating back to last year, obviously before the playoffs. So it's been a bit for that, but how do you come back after that? You're up 26-7. You let a team come back on you and lose the game by 7. Although obviously that last 6 kind of just a little, sure, yeah, you scored it, yeah, that does count, but like, does it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really consider it as far as like the whole gameplay. He could have just stopped 2 and game over, but I mean, whatever, it happens, But ultimately, that's kind of just my biggest thing from the Rams' perspective is I want to see how they come out in this one. It feels like the Rams respond in a positive way, come out big, but obviously there's no guarantees in this league, especially when your opponent has played some really sound football this year so far. The Indianapolis Colts, my biggest word for them is efficient. They've been efficient this year. They're not making mistakes. They're just running their game, and they're doing a good job. They're obviously 3-0. Winning football games in the NFL is hard. But last week, they were up 17-3 after the first quarter, and then just kind of rode it out. In fairness, from there, but I think that the first quarter for this game, I think, is going to be telling and critical. I think because you have a Rams team who hadn't scored since that Kyren Williams touchdown to go up 26-7, and then you have a Colts team who last week they just kind of rolled over Tennessee and didn't really need to do a whole lot of situational trickery or anything like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like I said, they were up 17-3 after the first. They had a Taylor run and a pick six to score their 2 touchdowns. So getting it done on offense and defense, obviously that's something that we're going to need to not see this week for the Rams to be able to get this one done. Some milestones we're keeping our eyeballs on, or we have reached. We'll start with Matthew Stafford, alone in 9th place for most touchdown passes in NFL history. Ben Roethlisberger is in 8th with 419, meaning Stafford needs 36 to tie Ben Roethlisberger. May hit that this year. Certainly possible. Don't know, but it is possible. He is currently tied with Matt Ryan for 38 in fourth quarter comebacks. In 4th place, he needs 3 to tie 3rd place, 5 to tie 2nd place, and 8 to tie 1st place, which is one Tom Brady, if you've heard of him. Needs 2 touchdown passes to tie Kurt Warner for 6th in Rams history with 102, meaning that Matthew Stafford currently past touchdown number 100 went to Kyren Williams just this last week. Speaking of, Kyren Williams, with a 100-yard performance, would reach 13th in rushing yards in Rams history, passing John Arnett and Willie Ellison. And Williams is 283 yards behind Jerome Bettis in Rams history, so should get that within a few weeks here. 1 touchdown behind Roman Gabriel and Dick Hayner as well. That remains the same, as he wasn't able to push one in on the ground in a rushing touchdown last week. Next up, Puka Nacua, currently 18th in yards in Rams history and receiving yards. He is 257 behind Preston Denard, so probably just going to hit that this weekend, I guess. Needs 5 receptions to tie Todd Gurley for 15th most in Rams history, so right in that action as well. Devontae Adams, this is an interesting one to talk about, man, because when we're talking, it's fun to talk about, hey, Puka Nacua, he's 18th in Rams history in yards. Then we switch over to Devontae Adams. He needs 12 receptions to tie Randy Moss all-time with 18th place. 3 of the 4 ahead of Moss are still active, in fairness. DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, and Travis Kelce. So we're going to still need some ground after that, but either way. Needs 5 receiving yards to pass Derek Mason for 31st all-time in NFL history with a 100-yard performance. He would reach 29th, passing, of course, Derek Mason, Hines Ward, and Charlie Joyner. Some very big names there. He is currently 1 touchdown behind Mike Evans all-time. Adams is in 10th with 105. Obviously, Mike Evans has 106, so he is right in that action as well. And he is 6 behind Tony Gonzalez, but Mike Evans is only 5 behind Tony Gonzalez. So Gonzalez is going to be dropping down the leader charts here within I'm assuming by the end of the year. You know what I mean? If these guys, that's all they need, then feels pretty good. Rob Havenstein, last week he tied Dennis Hara for the most starts in franchise history. In 8th place for most starts in franchise history with 144. He does need 2 to tie Torrey Holt, 6 to tie Aaron Donald, and he is currently 10 behind Orlando Pace. Those are the ones that he can reach this season. So let's take a look at just some connections here. Nothing too crazy as far as the connections go. Former Rams who are on the Colts. We got just a couple of pass rushers. Neville Gallimore, more recently with the Rams, he was a player I really liked last year on this team. I thought that he was a really solid depth piece, and he is becoming a really solid depth piece in Indy. Had a sack last week. And defensive end, Samson Ebukam. He's, I think, most remembered for his 2 touchdowns that he scored on defense against the Kansas City Chiefs in, November of 2018. That 54-51 absolute madness game, man. But Samson Ebukam put in 2 touchdowns, which I think is the Rams' record for defensive scores. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, then he's tied for it. I don't think anybody's put up more than 2 touchdowns on the defensive side for the Rams. Let's dig into the matchup here. We're going to start with the Rams offense. So, Rams offense, top 6 units, 373.3 a game. That's pretty solid action there. Going against the top 5 defense, 284.3 is what the Colts are giving up. Passing the football, top 10 unit for the Rams, 263. And then top 8 unit for that Colts pass defense. They're giving up 178.3. Rushing the football, the Rams are tied for 9th with 127 a game, and the Colts are giving up 94 yards a game. That is 8th in the league. And average points being put up, the Rams are scoring 24.3. That's 11th in the NFL. The Colts giving up 18.7. That is tied for 9th. Third down conversion, the Rams get that 42.9% of the time. That is 11th in the NFL. And the Colts give up 42.4. That is tied for 21st. So obviously the Colts doing a very good job here. Top 5 defense at the moment. Doing a good job against the pass. Doing a good job against the run. I think overall just a sound team, an efficient team. Some players that we're looking at on the other side of the football here. Defensive tackle, DeForest Buckner. Plenty of familiarity for Buckner versus the Rams. With the Rams banged up in the middle of the offensive line, Buckner is certainly a focus this week and certainly a player for Rams fans to keep their eyes on. But for Ryan Wendell, Rams offensive line coach, he's going to need to cook something up because it does sound like it's very possible that Steve Avila not back for this game. Dotson, I think, should be okay, but Avila could be missing his 3rd straight game, and we'll see what the Rams, if they try to make any moves there, or if it'll just be Justin Dedich taking that role again. Next up, corners, a couple of them here. Xavier Howard, as well as Charvarius Ward, 2 really good corners covering our wideouts. Probably the team that we've played so far, the only team that we've played so far that has the at least presents a roster that can maybe, cover Devontae and Puka Nacua. So obviously we're looking at both of those guys there. To cover 12 and 17, that's a tough task, but Howard and Ward, 2 very, very good corners. So I think we still have the best duo in the NFL. But again, solid test for both, man. This is the best corner duo that the Rams have seen so far this year. And next up, we'll go with linebacker Zaire Franklin. Stacking tackles as the Colts middle linebacker, man. He's having an absolutely awesome year. How he reads the run lanes against Kyron could very well be the difference between Williams having a solid day and the Rams being forced to pass, which I know makes perfect sense, but still, I think that Zaire Franklin is going to be a very critical part of the Rams' attack. If he's on, it's going to be a tough day for the Rams, potentially. But obviously, there's so many different ways to attack a defense, and Zaire Franklin is absolutely one of those guys who could force the Rams into a different game plan by needing to maybe pass the football a little bit more. While we're dealing with the Rams offense going against the Colts defense, my best one-on-one I'm going to give to Tutu Atwell, the Tutu train, going against Kenny Moore II. Moore is a very strong nickelback, and at some point when McVay says he needs to get Tutu involved, he's going to be not lying to us, right? I mean, at some point he's going to say, yeah, I need to get Tutu involved. And it's going to be true, and he's going to get him involved. I hope so, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's awesome. We got Puka and Devontae. No complaints here when those guys are getting the targets because those guys are absolute monsters. You want those guys to get targets. But when you have a guy who's making $10 million guaranteed and he's not doing anything for you, man, it's like, where else can this money be spent then? Offensive line? Corner, maybe? You know what I mean? That's kind of where my brain goes to it of like, why are we spending nothing negative against Tutu, man. I like Tutu Atwell. I hope he not only do I hope he sticks around, but I also hope that he actually starts, being involved into the offense, because it just doesn't seem like he's really present. So far, it's been give or take Tutu, like put him in or put him out, and the games are not different. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see here, is that this is maybe the week where Tutu does get involved. We've heard it from Sean McVay. How many times will we hear it from Sean McVay until we see it? I don't know. Is it going to happen this early? I also don't know. But I think in my brain keeps going to that Tavon Austin game, and Tutu feels a lot like Tavon, I think, in our hearts. Not the same style of player. He's just super fast and stuff like that. But I think that this could be one of those where Tutu just absolutely explodes for no reason against the Colts. Tell me I'm wrong, man. Tell me it's not possible. Tell me it's not possible. But Kenny Moore, pick 6 last week, gave the football to his mom, something that we see from Kyron Williams all the time. Absolutely got to love that. So it's going to be a tough task for whoever is playing are a slot wide receiver position, whether that is the 2-2 train or if it's going to be Jay Witt. We shall see. But either way, tough matchup for that nickel corner and for the Rams in the slot trying to break out there. Is three really good corners for the Indianapolis Colts for sure. 3 to see on the Rams offensive side. We're going to start with K-Dub, Kyren Williams. And Williams coming off of his best yardage output of the season with 94 last week. Blake had a solid day as well. But Kyren scoring through the air, getting it done on the ground is certainly good news for the Rams offense. It did feel a lot more balanced, a lot more able to run play actions and set up that pass off of the run. So obviously we're very much looking for that. But feels like the Rams should be on, if Kyren is having another one of those days, feels like the Rams should be on the good side of the score for this one, as we also have not seen a situation for the Colts where they need to try to, I don't know, that game against the Broncos was close, but they haven't been in a game where they're going against an offense who can score on you at any point from anywhere on the field. And if that does start happening, then how are they going to attack Kyren and stop the run and also not, and try to get the football back for their offense? So Kyren Williams, I think, is going to be a very critical part of this game, as I think for the Rams, we almost want to have a boring game after last week, right? Like, we want to just score, keep the football, keep them off the field, make it kind of an overall boring game, and then just get out of there with a dub. We got Thursday Night Football coming up after this. It's good, just get through, and we'll be all right. That's kind of how I'm feeling about this one. So I do feel like it's a big Kyren Williams game. But if they are stopping the run, that brings me to number 2, which is going to be Matthew Stafford, quarterback. While the ground game, certainly critical, man. Certainly critical. This Colts team has been very sound, very good at time of possession as well. And they're coming off a week. We're coming off a week where 9 had multiple head scratcher throws. That's not typically something we see. We can usually point to 1 or 2 throws a game where Matthew Stafford throws a football and you're like, what are you doing? But it was a lot more than that this last week. I think I counted 5 that was like, ugh, I wish I was in a better spot. And there was some blatant ones too. Overthrowing Puka on that crosser was really tough. Just some stuff like that, man. So another interception that was like, but either way. But Matthew Stafford, I think that having a game like that last week against a really good Eagles team just prepares you to kind of just settle down and just move forward. You're back at home for this one, so that's good news there. But hopefully no less head scratcher throws this week. But we need a good day from the leader, man, to get back at home, back in action, back in rhythm. Let's get that rolling. I think that kind of starts with number 9. If 9 is rolling, everything else kind of trickles out and typically does well. If Matthew's having a rough day, it does feel like that's, and not to say that last week was necessarily a rough day. I think that overall Matthew looked really good, but just a couple of throws, you're like, ugh. Yeah. Wide receiver, Puka Nacua. Puka definitely well on his way to being one of the best wideouts in team history for sure. And even when the team is trying to take him away, he's still able to pick up first downs. So it doesn't matter what the opponent is necessarily doing. Puka is still able to get it done, which you absolutely love, obviously. He's had some freedom, a little bit more freedom this year with the attention that Devontae Adams is getting for sure. But he's still getting his targets, getting his catches, no matter what the down and distance is. It's always a shot for Puka Nacua to make some sweet plays, man. Some sweet plays. Overall, though, for the Rams offense going against the Colts defense, it feels like the Rams should have a better matchup against most NFL defenses. It does feel like the Rams go into most games where it's like we are the better team in this setting, when the Rams offense is on the field. This Colts defense playing really well, man. The whole Colts team is playing really well. And for the Rams to come out on top of this one, we just really need Stafford to make the simple throws, not settle for field goals on 6 occasions. That's tough cookies right there, man. And we can blame the loss last week on whatever we want to, but it just feels like finishing drives should really be the focus this week, returning home. So I would almost anticipate that if the Rams are like the 35-ish, nothing against Cardi, because he's not the one that messed it up, but nothing against Cardi, but it does feel like maybe let's go for it. Let's just stay out there. Let's go for this. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking for. Flipping to the other side here, let's look at the Colts offense going against the Rams defense. Colts offense, They are power on offense right now, man. Tied for first in total yards, 425.3. The Rams defense is eighth, just under 300 given up per game. Passing the football, 265.3. That's fourth in the NFL for the Colts offense. And the Rams defense, 165.3 given up. That is sixth in the NFL. Rushing yards, 153.3 for the Colts offense. Solid numbers there. That's third in the league. Rams giving up 103. That's 13th in the NFL. Average points being put up per game. The Colts put up 34.3. Big time numbers there. That's tied for second in the league. And the Rams defense giving up 20.3. That is 14th. Excuse me, 14th. Right in the middle of the road there. Third down conversion, Colts are converting 41.7%. That's 13th, and the Rams defense giving up 34.2. That is 8th in the NFL. This is a very potent offense for the Indianapolis Colts right now, and they're just playing smart, strong, good football. They're not turning the ball over. They're never punting. I liked that comment from the Colts play-by-play guy that when they were punting last week, he was like, if you're new to Colts football this year, this is called a punt. I absolutely love that. That's absolutely hilarious. I got to find out who that guy is because I was like, yeah, nice. Just good stuff there, man. But this Colts offense playing really, really good football. Fourth in passing, third in running. Obviously, that's a recipe for success there. They don't have like a thing where you're like, oh, well, as long as you take this away, then they're screwed kind of thing. It's like, no, they're doing a lot of things well. You got to take away multiple things, man. Just don't let them kill you in any one thing. I think that's kind of the key for this one here. Some opposing players that we're keeping our eyes on. We're going to start with tight end Tyler Warren, a tight end the Rams may have had their eyes on in the draft. I'm not totally sure, but it has certainly been a big part of the Colts offense. The Rams certainly aren't their best at covering tight ends, and Warren has the ability to burn you. So certainly somebody to keep our eyes on. Hopefully the Rams are able to kind of shut that down at that tight end spot. Next up, running back Jonathan Taylor, second leading rusher in Colts history behind just Edger and James. Taylor very much still has it. He didn't have 100 yards in week 1 and is still averaging 113 a game this season. Not much of a drop from dealing with Jonathan Taylor from Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, two very good backs back-to-back weeks. So, obviously, tough task for the Rams run defense. Jonathan Taylor, though, like I said, still very much getting it done. And when he's not, wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. Decent output every single week. Has 2 receiving touchdowns on the year, including one last week against the Tennessee Titans. He's averaging in the low teens per catch and can certainly be a red zone threat, a third down threat. Plus, the Colts have plenty of fourth down attempts in their arsenal this year as well. So certainly somebody to keep our eyes on. We probably want to have, I would guess, Emmanuel Forbes Jr. covering Michael Pittman. We'll kind of see what the Rams defense decides to deploy there. My best one-on-one for the Rams defense going against the Colts offense is going to be Kobe Turner against Quentin Nelson. Nelson, absolutely one of the best offensive linemen in the entire NFL, not just a guard. And Kobe eating up that block and allowing the rest of the guys to absolutely feast on Jones could be the play, all right? That could be the plan. Tuna, Kobe, one of those guys, just take out Quentin Nelson. You let him block you. And, I mean, obviously try to get past him and stuff like that. Don't just let him eat the block. But, allow that to him to get the attention on you. And then, obviously, the remainders should be able to get after the quarterback. But there's going to be a lot of help. Obviously, Quentin Nelson slipping out to left to help on that Jared Verse side of the ball. But again, I mean, that's going to be tough numbers for the Colts offense as, I mean, if he goes out too far that way, then our inside's going to eat you up, dude. So, I don't know. It's a tough matchup, and I'm really curious to see what Quentin Nelson is looking like this week against this Rams front, which is obviously very, very talented. So, very talented offensive line for the Colts, very talented defensive front for the Rams. Love that action, man. Love that action. My 3 to see here, I'm going to start with Kobe Turner, as Turner might have his hands full this week and very well may not show up on the stat sheet, but make no mistake about it. Kobe Turner's going to be impacting this football game. Even if he's just there to eat up that center guard block combo or whatever it happens to be, but occupying Quentin Nelson, I think, is going to be one of the most critical parts of this game. And Kobe Turner figures to kind of play that role a good amount of the time. So again, it may not show up in the stat sheet. He's going to impact the football game. Think Michael Brockers, all right? Didn't always crush it in sacks or tackles or anything like that. But the way he impacted so many games and allowed Aaron Donald to just absolutely tee off on people was a very real thing. Next up, Emmanuel Forbes Jr. Hands full this week with Pittman. In fairness, Pittman, very good player. But it seems Forbes seems to slowly be getting better every single week, so we absolutely love to see that. Obviously, his speed is definitely flashed here and there, and he is the Rams' tallest corner. So right now, that is kind of where we're looking. We need him in those positions quite a bit. And next up here, I'm going to go with Josiah Stewart, the edge rusher, the rook, man. Turns out Stewart pretty sick, man. Turns out. I don't know if you caught that or not, but Josiah Stewart, he's pretty sick pass rusher. Rams absolutely nail these picks, dude. It's crazy. We should have known. The Rams picking an edge rusher. It's like, oh man, that guy's probably so sick. Like, we should have known, man. We should have known right away. But he's showing us either way. Getting him rotated with Young and Verse has been really, really fun to watch, man. He and Hampton, I thought, were kind of the most underrated the Rams guys coming into to this season, and they stuck around, which I absolutely love to see that, man. And I would say Josiah Stewart, probably Hampton as well, were like the two picks that were talked about the least. And Stewart, I think, is so far having the biggest impact of any Rams rookie. I don't even think that's crazy to say, actually. I feel he's the best rookie so far. He's the Rams rookie of the year. Not even close. Who else is even in the conversation right now? Rams just aren't using any rookies right now. So, obviously, you got to watch out for 10. 10, when he's on the field, absolute killer. Turns out anybody who's wearing 10 for the Rams, sick. And that's now Josiah Stewart. But overall, man, for the Rams defense going against this Colts offense, I would say that the Rams defense definitely has the capability of destroying a game plan. And on Sunday, they'll need to do that against a really efficient opponent. And again, that's the best way that I can describe this Colts team right now, is just efficient. One punt, no turnovers. This is also the best defense that they're playing against all year. Denver, I know, good defense. I feel like our defense is better, at least better pass rushers. They've got a better corner than we do with Patrick Surtain. Obviously, we don't have a corner that's at that level, but our pass rushers are absolutely crazy. They've got one Nick Bonito. We've got 4 of them. So sorry about your bad luck, Daniel Jones. You have to fight this fire this week, and we'll see if you have fire to bring to this firefight. We'll see, dude. We'll see. But this game, of course, kicking off again on Fox. This game, not a whole lot of coverage. 1:05 p.m. LA time kickoff for this one. And we'll be doing our game preview on Tuna and the Sheriff. That'll be on Friday morning, 7 a.m. live LA time. That'll be on the Ram Showcase Facebook page, as well as the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel. We'll also again be live pregame as I'm heading out to go catch the action. And drop your score predictions, man. I want to hear about them. I want to see what you think, who you think is going to have the biggest impact of this game. Drop score predictions. I want all that stuff all the time. It's absolutely awesome. Speaking of things that are awesome,